I hope everyone is doing well. I do realize that this is a little more difficult than being in the classroom and being able to ask your neighbor or ask me questions and have me come over to the computer and help you. Puts a little more of the learning onus on you guys. There's a lot of resources out there on YouTube and stuff like that to learn how to do some of this stuff. So if you need to look up Photopea tutorials besides the ones that I'm sending home, by all means do that, okay? What I want to focus on today is, using the text tool, okay? This could be another tool that sometimes takes a long time because when you go to the text tool, which is, of course, the one that looks like a T in a toolbox here, and I select that, and when I go out my screen and I'm simply just going to click once with the type tool. Now, for some reason, it jumped off of that, and I will try it again. And there we go. It should make a new layer in your text box. So now I made text layer number 4, it says. And you should see a cursor on your screen. Now, sometimes when you first use this, it might be loading the fonts. And that takes a little bit of time, so you got to be a little bit patient there. So, my movie, my movie's going to be called Barney Fett. I'm going to introduce Barney into this in a little bit. And I just typed that all in. You can change the size up here in this kind of control bar. There's the name of the font. I'm not sure what this. Oh, that's the style of the font, and then this is the size of the font. So if I want to highlight this text, see how I highlighted that there by clicking and dragging on it? Sometimes it's hard to do. So if the cursor is still at the end of your word, if you hit Command A on the keyboard, that'll do Select All. That's Command A. And then if I go up here to where it says size, the easiest way for me to change my size lately is to just click and drag on the word size, and that will change the size of this. And remember, we're making movie posters, so we want the title of the movie to be pretty large. I just centered it by clicking on this centering button. It moved it off my screen a little bit, but I can move that back later with the move tool. I do want to pick a different font, though. I don't want to settle for the font that they gave us, so I just clicked on this, and you can see sometimes it takes a little bit of time for it to pop up. Now, when I was reading reviews on Photopea, they said they didn't have a lot of fonts in there, but that obviously is wrong. There's a ton of fonts in here. This seems to be my favorite font, so I'll try to pick something different here. I don't know if that really fits our movie, but I'll select that font right here, and that should change the font on the screen, and it did. Okay, now I could get my move tool, and I will click right on that. Remember, if you have auto select selected and transform controls, you could be able to, you know, move and rotate and do that kind of stuff. Now, there's a lot of space between these two lines here, and I do want to correct that. So what I'm going to do is take my type tool, and I'm going to carefully click and drag on Fett. If you miss, it might make a new text layer, which often happens, and that causes a lot of confusion. You might have to delete the text layer by going down to the trash can if it made a new one. If it didn't and it highlighted it, then that's great, and you got lucky, and I actually got a little lucky there myself. I'm going to go to the character window. So I didn't know where to find this right away, but see this where it says CHA right here on the right hand side of the window? I'm going to click on that, and that gives me the character window, and I can do a either baseline shift here, or I could probably change my leading, which controls the spacing between the lines, and get these two nice and close together. All right, and when I can get those nice and close together like that, that makes it look a lot more professional. The other thing you would probably want to do is add some text layers. So if there's a check mark up at the top of the screen here, after you made your edits and did all the stuff with it, you want to commit the text layer by hitting the check mark. Okay, layer styles. this is something we've gone over in class 1,000 times. If you go to your layer, and if you double click on the layer, or if you go to the bottom of the window and go to where it says effects, you'll get this awesome window here which has our layer style options. And this is where you can start adding a stroke, and see now it just added a red stroke. If you click on the word stroke, I could change the color of the stroke to whatever color you want. And you could change your, either put a drop shadow on it. You could do, you could actually change the gradient overlay. You could put an outer glow on it. There's all different types of things in here, which you guys are pretty familiar with. Remember though, you have to click on the actual physical word. You just can't click on the check mark and expect it to jump to that. It'll apply the effect, but you have to click on the word to get to change the settings. Okay, so that could be a little bit confusing there. Okay, so once you add a few of those, I'm just going to click OK out of that window, and now this text is starting to look a lot better already. One thing I would like you to think about doing is maybe adding different colors to your background. So I'm just going to click on my background, and being that my original picture came off a blue background, there's a little bit of blue fringe around. It's hard to see when I'm zoomed out that much. I'm going to click on my gradient tool in the toolbox, which is right here, and then I'm going to just change the colors of the gradient to different shades of blue. So I'm going to have light blue. Oops, I just hit X. That was smart. Hit OK, and then dark blue, and I'll hit OK. And if you have an extra slider down here, remember you can just drag it down and away, and it'll disappear. And now I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to take my gradient tool, and you click and drag with a gradient, and now I could fill in the background with a gradient, and that makes my picture fit a lot nicer. I already cut out my Barney picture, so I'm going to slap Barney in there. And this is going to be the beginnings of my Barney Fett movie poster. Now I have to reposition Barney. So, oops, it helps when you're not in the gradient tool and you try to do that. I'm going to use my move tool, and I'll move Barney into a different spot so I can actually see him a little bit, and maybe even have him overlap the text layer a little bit by dragging the layer up. You can rearrange your layers, because right now Barney's underneath Boba Fett. You see his gun in front of Barney, and he's behind a word. So I'm going to take Barney, and I'm going to just drag this layer to the top, and now he's on top of those things. Okay, so you can mess around with your layers that way to arrange things differently. So I probably want Boba Fett in front of Barney, so you see the weapon, and then there you go. And that's being my movie poster. Am I going to add some other things in here? Yeah, I'm going to add, coming soon to theaters, maybe across the top. And I'm going to add that title block at the bottom that I shared with you guys. So there's a lot of different things you're still going to do here to make this, to finalize the movie poster, and I'll go over that in a different tutorial. All right, I hope this is going well. I know some of you are further along than others. Just do the best you can with this, and at the end of the week, we're just gonna, whatever you have is what you have, and you're gonna hand it in, and we'll move on to other things. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope everyone is doing well, and I'll talk to you soon.